everyone, it's Kim. Welcome back to my channel, and if you're new to my channel, welcome. So today I'm bringing you another cook with me, and we're going to do a dessert today. So I'm super excited. This has been on my list of things to try for a while, so I hope that you like this one as much as I think I'm going to like it. I can't wait to give this one a try later. So I think this one is 4 SmartPoints, whether you're on the blue, green, or purple plan. And I have my notes here. This is another Drizzle Me Skinny recipe. And this one is Bananas S'mores Loaf. Now, if you haven't seen this one before, it looks delicious. I mean, it looks so good. So, before we get started on this, I think I've mentioned this before. I always buy bananas almost every single week. And when I buy the bananas, I have great intentions. I'm going to eat a banana every single day. Like, I really like them. They're very filling. It's a good snack between breakfast and lunch. So, great intentions, right? So when I buy my bananas, they look like this, okay? I kind of buy them a little on the greener side, and usually the ones underneath are pretty good. They're really close in color, and I could actually eat these and be fine. But the top ones have a little longer to ripen, but they'll usually get me through most of the week. So towards the end of the week, my bananas look like this, okay? And then I'm thinking, ooh, what can I do? So I start researching recipes. What can I make with bananas that are a little bit past? I mean, I could probably still eat them like this, but it's just, they're a little riper than I like, okay? So this is what happens. You guys tell me in the comments if this happens to you. So I have these like towards the end of the week. That's Thursday, Friday-ish, right? By the time I remember I was going to make something, they look like this. So these ones are like really squishy. And I mean, I'm sure they're like really super sweet. I can still use them for recipes. But come on now, tell me I'm not the only one that does that. So as you can see, I have our ingredients out here behind us. And I'm going to go ahead and pre-measure these so that we can throw this together a little quicker. So once I get everything measured out, I will come back and tell you exactly how much of everything that I have. And also, I'll link the original recipe down below in the comments. Sorry about my voice. I've been a little under the weather lately, so it's been in and out. I was super excited to get up this morning and actually have a voice, so I wanted to get this one filmed for you, because I know it's been a few days since I posted anything. So let me turn around and get these measured out, and then we'll get started. Okay, so I have everything measured out. Before we get started though, I wanted to show you really quickly, I finally found an egg container that I really like for my fridge. And I got it off Amazon. It holds, I don't know, I think like 24 eggs. But I really like it because of the fact that I don't have to leave those ugly egg cartons in my fridge, and it seems to be more compact. And bonus, if I need to set something on top of it, which you guys know sometimes I overpack my fridge, it works out real well. So super happy with this. I'll put a link below of the ones that I found in case you're interested. They were fairly cheap, but they came in a 2-pack. But again, super excited to finally find one that I really liked. I always forget to show you guys when I find things, so I'm trying to remember to be better about that. All right, so this is what we have. We have, as far as ingredients are concerned, we needed 1 egg and 2 tablespoons of egg whites. So I'm going to go ahead and pour that into our bowl. And it says here that we need to whisk this together and then stir in our brown sugar next. So we needed 2 tablespoons of brown sugar. And again, I have all the ingredients listed below, but I'll kind of tell you as I'm putting stuff in the bowl, and then if you want to, I'll stop and I'll tell you the exact measurements again so that you'll have those. All right, that looks pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and throw in our 2 tablespoons of brown sugar. I need to replenish my brown sugar in my little container because it's starting to get a little hard. I'm sure you guys have that same problem too. A couple little chunks, I'm gonna try to get those out of here. All right, that looks pretty good. Yeah, much better. Okay, so the next thing we need to do is add in our bananas, our applesauce, and our vanilla. So it's 1 teaspoon of vanilla, a 1/4 cup of unsweetened applesauce, and 3 medium mashed bananas. And just so you know, I did not use the really super overripe ones. I just couldn't do it. I looked at it and I just couldn't use it. So we're gonna go ahead and pour that in our bowl and give that a mix. All right, that looks pretty good. Next up, we have 1 cup of all-purpose flour, and I've got these dry ingredients mixed together. 1/2 cup. Ooh, that might say 1/3 cup. My writing's really small. Okay, we're gonna have to double check that measurement. Anywho, I have a 1/2 cup in here, so I guess mine's gonna be super chocolatey. All right, hold on. Let me double check that measurement before I go any further. Okay, that's really funny. I'm glad I did a double check on that one because it definitely does say 1/3 cup. So we're just gonna pull some of this out. I think that's good, and we're just gonna go with it. So, back to our ingredients. We have 1 cup of all-purpose flour, 1/3 cup of unsweetened cocoa powder, 26 grams of crushed graham crackers, and this is what I have as far as the crushed graham crackers that I'm using here, and they just look like this, graham cracker crumbs. And I bought this when I was making I think a Frappuccino. It was my first s'mores Frappuccino, and that was super good. If I remember, I'll try to remember to link that one below too, because I really like when I buy ingredients and then I find another use for them. I know, I'm sure you guys do that too. 1 teaspoon of baking powder and 1/2 a teaspoon of baking soda. So to repeat that, 1 cup of flour, 1/3 cup of unsweetened cocoa powder, 26 grams of crushed graham crackers with 1 tablespoon removed. So I pulled a tablespoon out of that one so we can use that for the topping later. 1 teaspoon baking powder and a 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda. Again, I'll have the original recipe linked below so that you could print off a copy for yourself. So we're gonna go ahead and add that in next. Again, oh, just that chocolate smell just hit me in the face. It smells so good. All right, I think I'm gonna have to switch to a spoon now. Hold please, let me grab a spoon. Okay, started getting a little thick here. Let's get this off my whisk here. Make sure I get all that yummy goodness, right? If we're gonna count the points for it, we're gonna make sure we get it all. All right, so just gonna get this incorporated here. You always want to make sure you have the right size bowl too, because if you have a bowl that's too small, you're gonna make a huge mess. I'm surprised I haven't already. So we're gonna kind of cross our fingers that I keep going with this. All right, I still have to add the graham cracker crumbs in. I just wanted to show you that, so I made sure I didn't put that purposely into the batter until I told you about it. So let's go ahead and sprinkle that in. That all incorporated. And the last thing that we need to add in is 1 tablespoon of mini chocolate chips. And I just have some Great Value mini chocolate chips here that I had in my cabinet. The funny thing is I had all these ingredients in my cabinet already. The one ingredient I didn't have, we'll talk about when we get ready to put the topping on. And I just did a substitution for that one, so I'm not super worried about that. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take my loaf pan and I'm going to spray that with some cooking spray. I have my oven preheated at 350 degrees. You want to make sure that pan gets really coated so that, you know, your s'mores loaf will release out of the pan pretty easy. All right, just gonna start scraping this off the sides here. We're gonna get this right into our pan. Now leave me a note in the comments below and let me know if you're gonna try this, because I'm telling you, super duper excited. This bowl's a little heavy, sorry about that. I'm sure my arm was right in your way. All right, so we've got that in there. That looks really good. That was probably really loud. Get the rest of that off there. All right, I'm gonna get this into a 350-degree oven that is going to bake for 45 minutes, and then we're gonna let it cool for 30 minutes after that. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this in the oven. I'll probably pop back on once I pull it out of the oven. I'll show you what that looks like, and then we'll get the topping on it. I think this is a pretty quick recipe, and again, if you do baking like I do, you pretty much have all these ingredients on hand, so why not throw together a nice dessert that's gonna be super low in points that you can enjoy along with your family. All right, so let me get this in the oven and then I'll come back. Here's a little baking tip for you. When you're doing some baking and you're using a lot of different bowls, make sure you have your dishwasher emptied so that you can just go ahead and rinse your things, rinse all your bowls and your spatulas and stuff, and get them right in the dishwasher. That way you don't have to contend with it later. That's one of the tips that I try to just make sure that I do, so that I don't have to, again, worry about cleanup later when I should just be enjoying the things that I'm baking. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and finish getting this loaded here, and then I will come back. Okay, just pulled this out of the oven. It looks absolutely amazing. Look at that. Could have made the chunks of bananas a little bit better so those are popping out, but still I think it's going to be really, really good. So I'm going to set the timer for 30 minutes. We're going to let this cool, then we'll pop it out and we'll put our topping on it. So stay tuned. I'll be back before you know it. Okay, so we have had this out of the oven for a half hour. I have my marshmallow measured out. We needed a 1/4 cup of marshmallow. I just got a 1/2 cup measuring cup here and did my best to get a 1/4 cup in there. I have my leftover 1 tablespoon of my crushed graham crackers. And the recipe called for 1 square of Lindt 70% dark chocolate melted. That was the only ingredient I didn't have, and I wasn't going to just go to the store for something that I was afraid I wouldn't use. So my plan is to use my Smucker's Sundae syrup. So I looked on my WW app and found out that the Lindt, 1 square of that Lindt chocolate is about 2 to 3 points depending on which one I choose. So I'm going to go ahead and squeeze out 2 points of this on top of here, and that comes out to be 35 grams. So I'm just gonna go ahead and measure this and go ahead and squeeze this right on top. Now, as I'm doing this, I'm gonna go ahead and get my marshmallow. Oh, maybe I should do chocolate first, because that marshmallow may get a little bigger than I want it to. So we're just gonna go ahead and start drizzling the chocolate on. That's 20. And I made sure I left this out of the fridge so that it would squeeze just a little easier. All right, that's 26. $30. Get some down here on this edge. 33. Give it a quick little drizzle on top. 36, close enough. All right, so the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and pop this in the microwave, which I thought it was easier to do here since I already had the microwave on this side. So I'm gonna try to scoot up and watch this to see when it starts to get fluffy, because if you ever done microwave marshmallow, you know that it gets fluffy really quick. And there it goes. All right, so it says that we should just drizzle this right on top. And then we get a big glob. Hold on a second, see if I can. Good thing it's on that side. Maybe I can still get a pretty picture on this side. All right, hold on. Let's see if I can get this. Go ahead and do that again. Just for a couple of seconds. All right, hopefully that will work. Just keeps fluffing up bigger and bigger. So I'm not exactly sure how the easy part of doing this part is. Maybe we just drizzle it with the... All right, I'm gonna say that's close enough. What do you think? Looks really pretty, right? All right, close enough for that. And then we just sprinkle on this 1 tablespoon. Wow, that's actually a lot more than I thought it would be. All right, I think that's good. I'm just gonna go ahead and save the rest of that for later. Look at that. I'm gonna scooch you in a little bit more. Hopefully we can maybe pull this off of here. And look at that. All right, I'm gonna get a couple pictures of this real quick, and then I will cut into this and show you. Maybe I'll just give it a quick little taste, so hang tight. Okay, so here is what that looks like. You can see those banana pieces in there. This is the topping. How nice is that? So I'm gonna go ahead and give this a try. We'll see how it is. That is really good, like really good. All right, super excited. Give this one a try. Now with this loaf, you cut it into 10 equal pieces, and each slice, I probably have chocolate on my lips. Each slice is gonna be 4 SmartPoints each, so 10 slices. Those are good sized slices. So go ahead and give this recipe a try. Again, super, super good. All right, so with that said, don't forget to give me a thumbs up if you like today's video, and leave me a comment below. And with that said, we will see you next time.